It's actually kind of poetic and enjoyable series of events that I want to tell you about. First, about 2 weeks ago, Trump says something online about how Taylor about how Taylor Swift isn't hot anymore. And it's been that way since, so he hated her. Like, she lost her hotness because he spoke of his hate. And the Swifties hummed with disgust for a while, right? Taylor was quiet. It'll become clear in a minute why she was quiet, what she was doing in the meantime. That's just the foreshadowing, right? So the next events unfold like this. Bruce Springsteen speaks out on a stage in Manchester, England on the 14th of May. He says something important. Some of what he said included, quote, "In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. There's some very weird, strange, and dangerous shit going on out there right now. In America, they are persecuting people for using their right to free speech and voicing their dissent. The richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death. They are rolling back historic civil rights legislations and that led to a more just and plural society," end quote. He says this on stage. And the videos of it hit on the 15th. We all absorb that. My first reaction is, all right, Bruce, we needed that. But wait. And then you know how Taylor Swift is recording all of her music so that this creepy predator producer who bought all of her masters of the originals can no longer make money on them? I know more about this than one might care to. I have 2 daughters, one of whom is a devoted Swiftie. So I've, any more information that you need, I've got it for you. But so the Swifties lose their minds when she creates a new version of an album and it drops because she's got like fun things in there. She's got little Easter eggs that they all get excited about. And she usually has like a new song or two on there that's from that era that she didn't release at that time for whatever reason, usually because some man told her not to, is my understanding. Right. But so she re-releases these and everybody waits and hopes. And there's this one that she's not gotten around to re-releasing. And she wrote it after she had spent some time on the mat when she was collecting herself from some failure or perceived failure and is plotting a comeback. Right. So her fans have been waiting for that moment. I'm trying to think of what the name of the album is and I can't. But anyway. Well, so wait no longer, Swifties. Except the rest of us get to benefit from at least the symbolism of this one, too. She drops her re-recorded "Look What You Made Me Do" is the title of the song. She drops it to soundtrack the penultimate episode of The Handmaid's Tale. This scene where, if you don't know The Handmaid's Tale, it's Margaret Atwood is an author. I believe this book was published in the 70s, maybe 80s. Anyway, it's this brilliant book about, sort of the extremity of what happens when a Christian nationalist patriarchal state takes hold and is unafraid to commit violence in order to leverage women's bodies for procreation. So you got The Handmaid's Tale. It's this like sort of eerie, too upsetting for me personally to watch show that is revealing this dystopia that, to anyone watching is becoming more and more and more true or more possible. The best example I've seen is the one in which you have a young woman in Georgia who is brain dead and being kept alive so that her possibly also injured child might grow in her womb, just to see what might happen. So you've got this TV show that's been on for 5 seasons. It's towards the end of the 5th season, which I believe is the end of the show. And the show at this point is like sort of like Game of Thrones did. It's kind of extending, taking the strings, but extending what has been written in that particular text. I think there's some references to what we're watching from another text. I have to confess, I didn't read that second book. But anyway, Handmaid's Tale, the scene where the handmaids are staging an uprising against their commanders, right? So the image is I watched the little clip of it. The image is all these women who have been abused or used or incarcerated or tortured or have gained consciousness about their role in that even. So they're tested and they're finally in their moment of seeking to end the domination and the ruin. And they're all walking in unison in these strange cloaks down this street. And we hear this steady, low voice saying, to quote Taylor, if you'll allow, I don't like your games. I don't like your tilted stage, the role you made me play of the fool. No, I don't like you. I don't like your perfect crime, how you laugh when you lie. You said the gun was mine. It isn't cool. No, I don't like you. But I got smarter. I got harder. And in the nick of time, honey, I rose up from the dead. I do it all the time. I will confess that, reading those words, sharing them with you gave me chills. Taylor has some power to her. Some of it's real, y'all. But also on the 19th, same day, Trump calls for a major investigation into Bruce, Beyonce, and Oprah. I'm sure if he was aware of Taylor's drop, he might have included her in the list. But at the moment, he's responding to Bruce, really. Bruce provocation. But he threatens them with a major investigation for having performed at Kamala's campaign events. So it's similar to like CBS interviewing Kamala and getting a lawsuit, right? So he's saying, I'm going to come after you personally. So then the crypto rich people and the screw the poor people bill happen on the 22nd. And then on the 23rd, Bruce drops an EP in which he includes live releases of songs about freedom and recordings of his 2 spoken word pieces challenging what's happening to our democracy. And in his remarks, at one point, he makes references to the humanity and the intellect of previous American first families, saying, this is who we are. The Kennedys playing touch football, the Reagans on their horses, the Obamas on the beach in Hawaii. And man, I was struck by the ways in which all of our fighting and all of our two sides and all the cutthroat treacherousness of the historic dynamic between the Republicans and the Democrats in this country, just the sort of treacherousness of American politics, right? The boss can now stand up and acknowledge the humanity of all of them in the same sentence. I just said the boss, and it's really important for you to know, if you don't know, that Trump's press secretary, you've seen her. She's this woman she's a blonde woman, and she wears this like giant, like almost hand-sized cross on her chest. She did say that calling yourself the boss, I swear to God, she said it is illegal. So beware. Anyway, in the same sentence, Bruce is bringing in all 3 of these families as if they are all part of a human morality, as if they are all part of sort of the same kind of governance, where now if we look, I mean, I still have very strong feelings about a lot of those elections and a lot of those policies, but if we look back, we were not talking about the things we're talking about now, right? We were not talking about abject cruelty. We were not talking about puerile isolationism. We were not talking about, aligning with Russia and incarcerating people for speaking. And that's incredible to me, right? That we've arrived at this moment where Bruce Springsteen is going to name all these families as representative of the America we wanted to be. My daughter and I just finished 6 Feet Under the other night. The HBO series, it really holds up, I have to say. I mean, it's wonderful. In the last episode, there's this Republican that you kind of come to love. And one of the main characters is considering a relationship with him. And my 16-year-old says, oh God, do we want that for her? He's a Republican. And I said, dude, we are all on the same side now. Like, he's doing what he thinks is right. We're all now fighting for our actual freedom and our actual homeland. Right. So like, he would have been on this side of that conversation, we have to assume, unless he had one of these wild personality transplants that we're seeing in so many figures who decided to stay in the Republican Party, that it was worth whatever price to suddenly embrace cruelty. And so Bruce and Taylor are reminding us of that America, of that homeland, right? And giving us a reason to believe in that dream. And with Bruce especially, there's no hiding behind the metaphor, no artistic ambiguity, just direct moral challenge set to or proximal to music. The kind of courage we used to expect from our elected officials. That world where we fought about policy feels like a foreign country now. Bruce is calling us back to that version of America where disagreement doesn't mean dehumanization, where patriotism means protecting the vulnerable, not celebrating their suffering, for heaven's sakes. He's speaking for an America that still believes in something beyond this gilded callousness, beyond the entertainment value of cruelty. Is it a dream? Has it always been a fantasy with flaws and holes and unacceptable marginalizations? Yes. Is it worth reviving, though? Now that we can see how very much can be lost, and how this time, maybe, we could fight for the whole real shebang. That's what authentic courage sounds like. Not the performance of power, but the risk of speaking truth. Not the theater of wealth, but the vulnerability of moral leadership. Can you believe that sequence of events in the same period of time? Are you dying to know the astrology? I was. All right, so that's cool, you guys. It's a good one. So between May 19th and May 22nd, Ceres, the asteroid goddess of nourishment, grain, feeding the people. Ceres is Demeter, Persephone's mother, right? She's the one Persephone's one that got taken into the underworld, got taken into Pluto's depths, right? And when she was taken, when this guy grabbed her and said, she's coming with me, Demeter stopped all the food. She instituted winter, fall, and then winter, right? Where nothing grows. And it was only when her daughter was returned to her that she was like, fine, we'll feed the people. Right? So the mother's grief, the mother's rage, the mother's power is symbolized by Ceres. And there has been enough that's gone on in history to notice when this rageful, powerful, righteous, maternal thing kind of emerges onto the stage when she's doing important things, is in important places. Remember, it's angles and proximity. So the mother of all asteroids, although I have to tell you that she is a dwarf planet, yes, she's recategorized to be as significant as Pluto in 2006. We call all of them planets most of the time. But she's a dwarf planet. So pay attention. She's important. So it's this grieving, righteous, loving, nourishing mother, right? So she's this mother who will withhold her fruits and bring about winter if you withhold her daughter. So Ceres was conjunct with Neptune. Neptune's the sleepy, dreamy king of the sea, Lord Triton, with his spear, right? So it's all gooey. It's all like, he's the dream guy. He's the boundaryless guy. He's the let's see what happens guy. He's the spirit guy, right? He's the guy who gives us access to our spiritual lives. And so Ceres, this mother figure, this rageful, grieving mother figure, is conjunct, meaning in the same location, at the same degree in early Aries. Aries, remember, is the skyland of action, of doing, of causing. So between May the 19th and May the 22nd, they're conjunct in this sky. So just take that in. And the day that Trump whiffs his wiffle bat at these major celebrities who would resist his tyranny, and Taylor drops this revenge comeback song, while the women of Margaret Atwood's dystopia are literally rising up against their abusers, this Ceres, this righteous and powerful mother, is conjunct Neptune, the planet of dreams and disillusion and boundaries, in Aries, the skyland of action, of movement, of no. You know that audio that usually they use it on dog videos? I don't know if you watch as many dog videos as I do, but it's kind of out of fashion now, but it was in for a while. It's like I liked it a lot because my dog hates rain, and so there's this precipice where the dog's standing and there's rain outside, and the dog's like, no, absolutely not. I've seen what I needed to see, and no, we're not doing that. I'm not getting it exactly right, but that sort of no, no. That's Aries. Aries is the skyland where that kind of like stuff happens. Okay, so Ceres in that skyland of action of boundaries is like Neptune, dude. We need to talk about this dream and this spell that your people are under. We need to add smoke to this gooey uncertainty. We're in Aries now, man. It is time, really time, to begin to dismantle this illusion. You had people in when we were in Pisces. All right, my friend, it is time for a new dream. My people need nourishment. They need hope. They need voices of strength and resistance and triumph. They need someone to articulate how this could be. And Neptune's like, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's time. I've been here for a minute. I've moved from 0 to 1 degree. I'm officially living here now. And you're right. But wait, the moon is joining us here today at 1 degree. Let's reflect on our feelings. Wait, I have to make sure it's the 22nd or the 19th. Okay, the 22nd at 1 degree in Aries, right? So the moon's arriving at this like tete-a-tete between Ceres saying, what are you doing to my people? They need food. They need health. They need nourishment, right? And Neptune's like, yeah, no, you're right. It might be time for a new dream. And the moon's showing up and saying, you guys, let's reflect on our feelings. Let's reflect on the feelings of the collective. We're in this action-oriented skyland where we suffer no bullshit, right? So let's broadcast a new dream. And well, friends, all of this meeting between Ceres, Neptune, and the moon is happening right before Mercury, the, in my opinion, non-binary queen of communication and insight and information. So Mercury this week, the week we're in now, has started having an amazing week. And it started on the 24th, just 2 days later. She meets with Mr. Chaos, Mr. Sudden Change, Uranus. And later this week, you guys, she is going to kiss the sun. It's called a kazemi, which I think is one of the coolest vocabulary words we have in astrology. But she's going to kiss the sun. And so like in the ancients would see planets that they could see every day start moving towards the sun. And they would know that when this planet disappears because it's too close to the sun, you can no longer see it once it's that close to the sun, shit's going to roll, right? Whatever the planet stuff is. And the stuff with Mercury is information, is communication, is words, is ideas. So Mercury just met with Mr. Chaos, and now he's going to go kiss the sun, right? What will that mean? What will be said? What will be uttered? What will be thought this week after this activation of all of us by Neptune and Ceres and the moon hanging out? It's stunning. Planetary symbolism. So Ceres represents literal nourishment, grain, food, sustenance that keeps us alive. Neptune representing dreams, illusions, and dissolution. When they meet in Aries, the sign of action and bold moves, we see both the highest and the lowest expression of how we feed and do not feed our people. So like everything in the entire world, including you and me, everything, all these characters, the moon, Ceres, Neptune, everything has a light and a shadow side. Like I and my personality and my strengths and my, what I got going for me can be used for unhelpfulness or helpfulness. These parts of me can cause harm or they can cause healing and joy, right? Like I can be used in multiple ways. So can every being on the planet. I have a cat who he has a shadow side, right? But we all have it, right? So like all of us and all these forces in the sky. And so the shadow side, Neptune's illusions, convincing people, a good number of people, that cutting food assistance is somehow noble, right? Because it's about people who aren't currently working. or that 400 million cryptocurrency dinners are more important than feeding working people. The moon representing the public, the people, the collective emotional needs is caught right in the middle of that conjunction on this exact day that both events are happening. But the high expression of Ceres and Neptune in Aries inspires action to truly nourish our collective dreams. Bruce's EP is calling us back to the America that feeds hope rather than greed. Taylor's reclaimed voice is soundtracking resistance against those who see people as objects to be used rather than souls to be nourished. And part of the scene is Saturn getting closer by the minute, literally, to this party. He's in there. He's at, I think, today. Let me tell you. Yeah, he's entered. He entered, sorry, you're right. He entered Saturday. He entered Saturday on the 24th, the Saturday of the holiday weekend. Right, so he's arrived in Aries. I'm not spending too much time on this idea today, but I think it's important because it signifies the seriousness of this Neptune moment, right? Saturn is seriousness, is discipline. Remember, he's the grumpy grandpa who has all the rules, and if you don't follow him, well, right. So Saturn has arrived with Neptune, and then we have this little play happening with our leaders and our artists and our government. And so he's kind of casting this moment and capturing all of this. So the whole sequence shows us the choice that we're being asked to make. Will we allow Neptune's illusions to starve Ceres' nourishment, or is there another path? When we take in the emerging possibility of Saturn's structured action to protect what truly feeds the soul of the democracy.